Hello and welcome to the special business meeting for the District of Squamish for Tuesday, October 24th. As always, we're gathered to do our work today on the traditional and unceded territory of the Squamish Nation. Could I have someone please move adoption of the agenda? Moved by Councillor Hamilton, second by Councillor French. All in favor? Motion carries. And our first item is a staff report, and I'll go to Councillor Hamilton.
I'd just like to declare a conflict of interest on this matter as an employee of Capilano University.
Thank you. We will come and find you following the conclusion of the conversation. Thank you. Okay, I will I'll turn the floor over to staff to introduce themselves on the topic.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good afternoon. My name is Kate Mulligan. I am the Economic Development Officer for the District of Squamish. And in the audience, I'd also like to introduce Dr. Ellen Flournoy, Regional Manager for the Squamish area, who is here joined with us from Cap University. So today, the Community Planning and Sustainability Division is seeking authorization for the district to enter into a Memorandum of Understanding with Capilano University. So Capilano is working to increase regional programming in the Sea to Sky corridor by pursuing the development of a Squamish-based campus to offer residents relevant programming and support community and economic development goals. And as such, CapU actively participates in various activities with the District of Squamish and other local and regional organizations, including one of the district staff advisory groups, the Economic Partner Forum. And as CAP works to develop a greater presence in Squamish, an MOU was proposed to formalize and strengthen the working relationship between parties, guide collaborative activities, achieve constructive and ongoing engagement towards goals and mutual benefits, and lead to new formal agreements that will help further mutual goals. Right now, the goals proposed within the MOU include increasing access to academic programming via the promotion of available programs, supporting the delivery of meaningful learning opportunities for the student community and faculty, seeking funding to meet aligned outcomes, activities supporting mutual goals around innovation, truth and reconciliation, health and well-being of people and environment, marketing collaborative opportunities to reinforce the commitment to outcomes and build brand reputation. This MOU would formalize, strengthen, and broaden ongoing engagement between CapU and the District of Squamish. This agreement would allow CapU and the district to build additional capacity via potential funding applications and partnerships. CapU and the district will continue to work collaboratively in support of the district's economic, social, and cultural development. This engagement is expected to evolve over time. Several areas of initial collaboration are noted. Many activities are already ongoing, and this agreement will formalize activities between the parties. So some of the activities include alignment to already ongoing activities, so such as the Community Climate Action Plan, our outdoor recreation sector development, the circular economy and its development, collaboration around Howe Sound Biosphere Region, work in the agri-foods development portfolio, as well as the district's planned labor force development plan. Additional participation in our ongoing participation in advisory and working groups has also been identified, including the Economic Partner Forum, as well as the Innovation Working Group, which CapU has continuously provided support for. Exploration of new programs and initiatives and shared resources. So within the MOU, there's the potential to explore programs such as City Studio Squamish, new child care programming and access to recreation, arts and culture space and infrastructure and programs, as well as work integrated learning and applied research. So in terms of budget, there's no financial impact resulting from this MOU. MOU administration would be undertaken as part of regular operations. Any financial impacts relating to specific initiatives would be contemplated outside of the MOU and as part of other agreements and annual 5-year financial planning. The CAO office would administer this MOU and be the primary liaison between the district and CAPU. Various departments, including economic development, sustainability, planning, and recreation, would be central in delivering initiatives under the MOU. And this MOU aligns with several district community goals and objectives, including to increase local employment opportunities and priority sector firms. And should the district enter into this MOU, any resulting organization impact would be aligned to those goals as well as other goals articulated in the district's strategic plan. So lastly, the district staff will follow the IAP2 public participation spectrum level appropriate to the specific activity that's contained as part of the MOU activities. So proposed next steps, should council authorize the mayor and corporate officer to enter the MOU or to schedule an official signing and recognition of this important milestone. Staff with CAPU representatives intend to implement a steering committee to administer the MOU, while staff intend to work with CAPU to implement the various activities identified in the draft MOU for your consideration. And so that's the end of the presentation. I do want to note in the attachment is the MOU itself. And we realized that the numbering for the clauses was out of order. So that has been rectified in the copy that was provided to you today as an update.
Thank you. Council, questions? Councillor Anderson.
Having had decades of liaison with two long-standing directors of the board over from the beginnings of Capilano College, I was always reminded in conversation about the existence of the mandate to serve this region. And it was my understanding that this mandate derived from legislation, as did the other community colleges of the day. And we now have a University Act, which was updated several years ago to incorporate or take into account a new Capilano University. My question is, what does the University Act or other act say today about the mandate to serve this corridor? This is a huge issue for Squamish over the decades. And for example, when we lost the tourism leadership program, there was a lot of disappointment, people pointing at looking for that mandate and how it is expressed today. Can you provide any orientation as to what exists in legislation regarding the regional mandate, which is identified on page 1, a primarily regional mandate for Capilano University?
I can't speak to the specific details of the mandate or legislation that governs Capilano University. What I can say is they have a distributed mandate, which means that their goal is to provide educational resource and learning opportunities throughout the corridor. But I could also, if appropriate, ask a member of CAPU to provide that response to council.
Thank you. My second question concerns facilities. And naturally, the question does come up in the community about the potential use of field facilities at Quest University. But I'd also like to mention that over several years, some of our community groups use Capilano University at its present campus on Carson Place for loan of audiovisual equipment. And this is a service that was provided to the community. I guess my broad question is, how might we address facilities? Is it really only coming under that number 11, exploring opportunities to share community recreation, arts and culture, infrastructure, amenities, services, and programs? Do we need to address in different language use of facilities? Those are two examples.
Thank you. Through the chair. Definitely the activity 11 that you're specifying would also consider infrastructure. But throughout the activities within many of those have consideration around shared use of space. So for example, a concrete example of that would be for our innovation work, the application that's going forward to the Rural Economic Diversification Infrastructure Program. CAPU is actually providing a letter of support, which also includes provision of resources, which could include space. In terms of space for use or assets for use for community, I think that would be guided through discussions and development with the steering group. So a lot of the detail needs to be ironed out with respect to new initiatives. Ongoing initiatives are always exploring the shared use of space programs, faculty, district staff, and other organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. My final question concerns item number 6 and its scope. And this refers to CAPU will support the district to establish a chapter of City Studio in Squamish in 2024, supporting projects that assist the district and allied organizations with relevant research projects. When I think of the projects and collaborations that have occurred over the years, they are diverse, and they have been there have been many. Last year or 2 years ago, our sustainability department was approached by Capilano University regarding a building deconstruction pilot project. The local historical society was founded with the assistance of Capilano University History Department. Our town center association predecessor to the BIA had a partnership with CAPU. Quest University student projects. I guess I'm trying to. I have always been excited and about the potential and the record of ongoing projects as student projects. My question to you, Ms. Mulligan, that diversity of projects with Squamish CAN, Forestry Center Society, the library, Squamish Community Forest. We had a student 3 years ago that did a community forest governance thesis. Does this all fit under number 6?
Thank you through the chair. I don't know that I can easily say that it fits all under 6. City Studio is a specific program that would be driven out of discussions with the CAO office. Effectively, City Studio requires resourcing on the part of the district. Typically, what City Studio does is look at community challenges that are faced, and it's usually through the city that they're initiated, and then matches that with a cohort of students to be able to deliver solutions to those city challenges. So that's the program, the essence of the program. Despite this agreement and all the different activities, I don't foresee any of it limiting any of the opportunities to work with Capilano University, as well as other institutes that regularly work within the community to solve community challenges.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mulligan.
Thank you. I have Councillor Stoner, then Pettingill.
Thank you. Through the chair, appreciate the last item in Appendix B, so the activities and timeline speaks to preparing an annual report of activities and outcomes that can be presented, which I think will be helpful to better understand how this MOU is supporting both organizations. But there aren't really very many timelines associated to the activities in Schedule B. So I'm just wondering if you can speak to when we start to prioritize those.
Thank you through the chair. So through the working committee, we'll be looking at what existing activities are underway, working between Capilano University and the district to prioritize those activities that are ongoing, and then prioritize new activities. I think your point regarding the last activity, which is around the annual report, will also help guide future activities between the two organizations and provide more concrete timelines, but not only timelines, also the metrics involved in terms of measuring the outcome or success associated with those activities.
Okay, that's helpful. I will also just pick up on one of Councillor Anderson's points/questions. Number 11, that the CAPU and the district will explore opportunities to share community recreation, arts, and culture infrastructure and amenities. I think that is an area where previously the Quest University fields were being used by different user groups and not necessarily via the district. And so it is a real pinch point in our community, but is maybe not isn't like prioritized from within a district ongoing conversation, but I think that that is a high priority from a community perspective. Just wondering if you have any thoughts on timeline for those conversations.
Thank you. I'm not sure if Devin Guest is on the line, but she is aware. Our Director of Recreation is aware of the importance of recreation, culture, and arts being considered in terms of a working relationship with Capilano University, and is alive to the importance of the amenities that are offered at the campus. So my understanding is that that will progress as part of this MOU, and it will be one of the points of discussion between the new committee that is struck, and including the district and Capilano University. I do know, or I will say that Capilano University at this time, I understand, is, very busy setting up their initial programming and offerings in preparation for the fall. Therefore, I'm not sure the readiness of Capilano University, and that is something that we can approach them with soon.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And then my last question is just when I do also look again at Appendix B, the list of activities, I don't know how to frame this, but there's a lot of like olive branches coming from CapU to support district work, but there aren't that many reciprocal in terms of integrating the district into, say, like some of the planning around programming that might come. I think that it is there in terms of having folks from CapU present at some of our tables, but I just wondering if you can speak a little bit to that reciprocal relationship that you typically see in an MOU.
Thank you, through the chair. You're right. There's a lot of the initiatives that have been driven by community, but those have been actually driven with Capilano University with intent. So the initiation of the labor force plan is a clear example of initiative that was actually requested by Capilano University. So it might seem like it's a district initiative or district-led initiative, but in fact, it's helping to inform the work ahead for programming for Capilano University. So that's just a nuance that I wanted to share. But in terms of other activities, I think, we'll likely be revisiting this MOU soon once Capilano University has a better understanding of their needs and what they would like support from the district on.
Thank you. Councillor Pettingill.
Yeah, thanks. Just start by saying with my involvement with the economic leadership team, in particular, just seeing CapU come to the table and be engaged and want to be engaged in Squamish in many ways, which I really appreciate, and glad to see that becoming a little more formal in terms of our sort of commitments and desires. So I think overall this is great. Just to get a little bit more specific on some of my colleagues' questions, and maybe we need to have a follow-up conversation on this because, I could be a little wrong on the details, but my understanding was there was actually some sort of formal agreements between Quest University and Squamish in terms of access to certain facilities and resources. And because of various things, and, we know the challenges they ran into, those weren't fully fulfilled. I would assume that whatever is still in place there or needs to be worked out there is sort of separate from this MOU, and this MOU doesn't supplant anything pre-existing, or would this be a replacement for sort of anything that might have come before, or do we know at this point?
So through the chair, I don't think that this would. I'm pretty sure that the agreement, if there was ever an agreement in force, would stand. It's not that the MOU would take precedence over that agreement. I think I will pass it to Mr. Stoner possibly to support me in this one regarding any previous agreement with Quest.
I appreciate that you've passed that over to me. I will absolutely look into that and get back to you.
Thank you. Other questions, Council? Okay, we have
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Staff recommendation. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Anderson. Would you like to speak to it, Councillor Stoner?
Yeah, just thanks to staff and to our partners at Cap University for pulling what feels like a broad but really in-depth MOU together for the extent of work that I think will hopefully be mutually beneficial to our community as well as to the university that's coming to have a larger presence in our community. And so I think that there's a lot of innovative work that can be done here. And there's obviously work that's well underway, and this helps formalize a lot of the stuff that has already been going on. And so happy to support the MOU.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson.
Yes, I'll also be speaking in favor of the motion. I would like to pass on two observations. I do think that in a document such as this, that we should be clear on what the legal mandate or charter may say about the mandate of Capilano University, whether it's in the University Act or in some other charter document. I think that's an important document to have at hand. Secondly, having been involved in probably 20 student projects in the last 15 years at Quest and with Capilano University, and thinking over that none of them have involved the district. I do hope that when the number 6, for example, refers to allied organizations, the district and allied organizations, that it still will continue to be an open door for local groups to be approached by and to approach Capilano University for student projects in particular. And I think that's something to keep in mind, that we don't put a framework that doesn't need to be there and never has been there, actually. But it is very exciting to have this newly established relationship. And I think that there will be ongoing enthusiasm for building it ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pettingill.
Yeah, I'd just like to move an amendment, which is an addition, assuming that this MOU does not interfere with existing agreements. And if seconded, I will speak to that.
I don't see a seconder for your motion, Councillor. Any comments on what we do on the motion we have? Councillor French.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm speaking in favor of the motion. This is taking us in an exciting direction, and I'm really looking forward to what comes next once this MOU is in place.
Thank you. I'm speaking in support of the motion. I think this is really an exciting step forward. Having such an investment in post-secondary education in our community will move our community forward, but just unto itself. But this really is something that I think will really amplify that impact for our community through our own work here at the district. We have a lot of I think the long list of items to work on together is important, but it's also important to recognize it's just this is very much a starting point, and I think this creates great framework for us to be able to work together, particularly with the steering committee, and just see where this journey takes us over time. So thank you so much for all the work to bring this together, and I know this is something that was developed jointly with our friends at CapU. So thank you for taking on that work for us, Ms. Mulligan. And I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item, we have Ms. Arthurs is going to deliver to us. We'll give her a couple minutes just to get set up there. All right, I will turn the floor over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor Herford. Robin Arthurs, General Manager of Corporate Services, and I'm here today with Jonas Velaniskis, Senior Director of Community Development. And we're presenting an amendment, a housekeeping amendment to the District of Squamish Traffic Bylaw. Earlier last week, the district had received a request for an alteration to our established truck route. And at that time, we noticed that a procedural error had occurred in that the intended truck route schedule had not been attached to the bylaw that was presented in 2012 for adoption. So what happened was staff had gone looking for the attachment to the bylaw. It wasn't there. Looked online, went to the agenda package, and it wasn't there. So today we're here to correct that omission and to formally reinstitute by attaching the schedules to the traffic bylaw. There's no changes to the traffic bylaw. It's the same traffic bylaw that's always been intended, and that was attached and discussed at the committees of the whole in 2012 prior to the bylaw coming forward for readings. It's always been utilized by our engineering staff when dealing with matters involving truck route requests. It was again reiterated in 2015 when staff brought forward and discussed the truck route study, and it is the map that exists within the OCP that was adopted in 2017. So it's also always appeared on the district's website. So due to the omission and the fact that it's not actually included with the bylaw, we're requesting that council consider giving 3 readings to the bylaw amendment to include the truck routes, the established truck routes, and as well as the bike route that's attached. In addition, because we actually don't have the truck route attached to the bylaw, we're requesting that pursuant to section 38(1) of the community charter that council pass a resolution, a temporary regulation which will allow us to utilize until the bylaw would be adopted, the intended truck route in the interim within the next few weeks.
Thank you. Council, questions at this point? Yep, go ahead, Councillor Pettingill.
So just to clarify, this is not a new route. This is just, it's articulated pre-existing route. We are just formally attaching it to the bylaw, and our staff has the delegated authority to enforce this route that's here. We're just sort of almost over formalizing to just so it's very clear for everyone.
Thank you. Through the chair, Councillor Pettingill is correct that under the existing bylaw, sections 8.2 and 8.3a give authority to the general manager to also make decisions and provide permits related to truck traffic.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this forward and correcting this omission. And I understand that that's what we're here to do. This is the first time I've looked directly at these maps that were adopted in 2012, and on my first glance, which I know staff likely sees more than I do when I look at it, there seems to be room for improvement here. I understand that's not what we're here to do today. Could you speak to sort of what the next steps would be, with the public or industries looking at the mapping as provided, what the next steps for us would be in relation to any changes or updating to this policy that's been well over a decade now?
Thank you. Through the chair, and if Mr. Belaniskis wants to jump in, or Ms. Vengi, that would be appreciated. But in the spring, we will be bringing forward an updated transportation plan. And also, in order to make changes to this truck route, we need to update the maps that appear in the OCP. And so that will be looking at all of the roads that we want to provide regulation on that we don't currently, and where there may be an anomaly in that the road is now closed and no longer active, and we need to change that and update it. But the first step to it is actually to update the OCP and then create the regulation through the traffic bylaw and discussion through the transportation plan.
Okay, thank you. That really helps frame what we're here to do, the decision we're here to make today. Council, any other questions on this topic? Seeing none, we have a staff recommendation before us if someone's willing. Councillor Hamilton, are you two separate motions? So we'll do them in the order that they appear, if that's okay with the mover.
Call the first question.
Yeah. Or you moving the first piece?
Do they need to be called separately?
Yeah, we're gonna do them
Separately? I'll call the first piece then.
which is be resolved that all truck traffic, that section with the two whereases. Yep. Okay, and that's okay with the seconder. Thank you. Any comments on this? Go ahead.
This seems like a fairly straightforward housekeeping matter. It's interesting. It took us so long to discover, but I mean that speaks to this is the truck route we've used for some time, and I acknowledge with Councillor or Mayor Hereford seeing some challenges in the truck route, but this is what we have published already. It just needs to be attached to the bylaw. So I think this is a sensible move.
Thank you. Any other comments on this one? Go ahead, Councillor French.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, this is definitely an overdue issue to have been dealt with. And as I look at the map, I see that there is an impossible movement that has been impossible for a long time in this map. So we definitely need to work on this, not just today, right now, but long term to get a few things sorted out.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, I'll venture some of my own. Just yeah, thank you to staff for bringing this forward. It is remarkable that this issue sort of lurked around for over a decade without being discovered. But I am really happy to see that once it was discovered, it was acted upon quickly. And I know that these things are not. They may appear simple, but they're not always simple to rectify. So thank you. And this particular measure that we're considering in this question closes the loop, closes the risk today, and gives us time for the rest of the processes to go forward as far as readings and adoption of the bylaw with the attachments. So appreciate that mechanism to do that as well. I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. So council, now we're on to the second part of this. That the District of Squamish Traffic Bylaw number 2220/2012, Amendment Bylaw number 3019/2023 be given first three readings. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Stoner, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. Any discussion on this one, on this portion of it? Nope. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. And just a question of staff for you. When adoption will be at the will be scheduled for the first regular meeting? Is that a correct assumption in November? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So council, we have motion to close. Moved by Councillor Stoner, second by Councillor Hamilton. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We will be in recess until, do we need 15 minutes? It says 4 o'clock was our original time. We could stick to the 4 o'clock start. Oh yeah, 4 o'clock. Let's go. We'll stick with our original time. We'll be in recess to 4 o'clock. Thank you.